You mentioned in your testimony that carbon emissions were increasing. A witness from the Oregon Environmental Council affirmed a statistic that I believe Farm Bureau published, that in the last 15 years, carbon emissions has been reduced by 13%. How does your statement coincide with the statement of the reduction of 13% of carbon emission in the last 15 years?
Chair Williamson, Representative McLane, that is accurate that things have gone down over the past 15 years. However, the DQ, who keeps track of our emissions as a state every year, has recorded that since 2014, our emissions have been going up. The Global Warming Commission presented to the House Energy and Environment Committee to that effect earlier with their 2017 report to the legislature that, especially in our transportation sector, our emissions have been 60% of the increase. And so without a cap and a limit on pollution, that will continue to be the case at a time that we need to be a part of the solution. We've heard how the impacts are hurting Oregon and some of the opportunities we have to be a part of that solution. And that is why we're excited to do our part here.
Okay, follow up. Do you or do you not agree with the statistic that in the last 15 years, carbon emission has been reduced in Oregon by 13%?
Compared to where we were 15 years ago, it's gone down less than 1% a year. That is probably accurate.
Right, another follow-up. You characterize Representative David Brock-Smith's testimony as saying climate change is responsible for the catastrophic fires in his district. I believe his testimony was that mismanagement of lands, specifically associated with the federal government, has produced the fuels that have given rise to emissions of smoke and the like. And I don't recall him saying that it was climate change that led to the fires in his district. But you just testified here that that's what he testified to. And I would just like to have you go back to the record, and I want to offer up that that's not what he testified to. And you should probably follow up with David Brock-Smith as to whether your characterization of his testimony here is accurate.
Chair Williamson, Vice Chair McLane, I don't believe that's what I said. I believe I said Representative Brock-Smith, in addition to Don Sampson, have talked about how climate impacts are hurting Oregon. He did present about the wildfires. The Oregonian did a nice job of presenting on a study by the University of Idaho and others who studied our Northwest forests here in Oregon, and they actually took out all of the pieces of what cause wildfires, including all of these other contributors, and they identified just the climate change footprint or fingerprint on those fires and have shown that it has actually doubled our wildfires here in the Northwest and specifically in Oregon from climate impacts only. And then the Oregon Climate Change Resource Institute actually came and presented to the legislative body about how it will be triple to quadruple by the 2080s here in Oregon if we don't do more to abate our carbon emissions and just continue with business as usual. And that's just the climate impact. That's the part that I focus on. I know a lot of others look at the other pieces to the problem and the solution for reducing wildfires here.